Okay, confession time. I'm enjoying Arknights. I'm having fun so far despite having small brain, so I thought why not make another video to help out new players from some of the things that I've learned while playing the game. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of balance. This game is very class heavy, as each class provides something specifically that most other classes can't provide. So if you don't cover your class bases, you're gonna have a hard time in lots of stages, as stages will continually require a more varied team as you progress. Now, there is a lot of free-to-play YouTube videos of people clearing stages with just 3 stars. You can do that, however, that's not necessary. You can use your waifu or husbando ultra rare units over those 3 stars, but it's the class of the units being used as well as the unit placement that matters in those videos, as opposed to the unit's abilities. Most 3 stars are actually pretty much just worse versions of 4 and 5 stars. It's just promoting those 3 stars is less tedious and grindy. So you can use your awesome units, but be mindful of some general rules of thumb you should follow when it comes to deciding what units to invest in, which are: have a balanced team, level up your team evenly, and have 2 of everything. So just like Moses, you're gonna want 2 of them things when it comes to unit types for your squad. I'll get into the best recommendations later, but for now we're gonna be focusing on building your first squad, that is, what classes to use for your squad. By far, the most important classes to have early on at least are 2 Vanguard, 2 Medics, 2 Rangers, and 2 Casters. These are the bread and butter units. 2 Vanguard speeds up your DP gain so you can use units much faster. You almost always summon them first, and generally they can block 2 units to buy you some time. 2 Medics allows you to have 2 groups of heroes placed in different locations, as once you reach mid chapter 2 in story, enemies will start attacking your ranged units, and a certain enemy type later in chapter 2 makes grouping your units too unfavorable for you, so having 2 Medics solves that issue for the most part. 2 Rangers allows you to cover the entire field basically, and lower the health of enemies before they reach your vanguards so they don't get overwhelmed by 3 or more units. Or Rangers will do what they're supposed to do and take down flying units, which most other units can't do. And lastly, 2 Casters, usually 1 single target and the other AoE. It makes killing the fatties, or a group of enemies, easier, as usually Vanguards can't kill them fast enough alone because those enemies have too high defense, whereas Casters can ignore that defense for the most part by dealing arts damage. So combine all that and you got 8 out of the 12 covered for your squad. And you really shouldn't use more than 2 of these class types for general stages. Some stages you might want an extra ranger or an AoE healer, but generally 2 is enough. So that leaves you 4 empty slots. What now? Well, you should get yourself a defender, a tanky unit that can block multiple enemies as well as being super thick, which is great for guarding your base. Or perhaps to clog up the enemies at a choke point where your casters and such can drop heat on them. Many times, 2 strong enemies can be dangerous for your vanguard to block, so swapping in a defender can withstand their attacks better. A guard is another nice unit to have. Despite the name, they're actually just a DPS unit, usually having high single target damage to draw the attention of a single dangerous enemy like the close casters in chapter 2. Some even have AoE radius, so they can hit more than just in front of them, or be placed behind your vanguards so they can help kill enemies alongside your vanguards, such as Silver Ash. And the last recommended unit to have is Pusher or Puller. These are a unique class of heroes that can push or pull an enemy towards or away from them. Later in chapter 2, they become super valuable in making the stages easier, and you're guaranteed to get Shaw before that, so raise him up and he'll be awesome for you. And even in stages without hazards, they can push or pull enemies away from your vanguards and other units to slow the enemy down. And yeah, your 4th slot can be whatever you want. If you need an extra guard, put an extra guard. Need an extra defender? Plop him in. Need a specialist or support unit? Go ahead. But those other 11 slots is usually what you want to have in your squad at all times. In some stages there is going to be exceptions, like supply missions, but generally that is going to be your setup. So now comes the time to decide who is going to fill in those slots. As mentioned, if you got a 6 or 5 star in one of those roles, go ahead and put them in. While 3 and 4 stars are easier to promote, you're not really going to see that much benefit over a 5 or 6 star unless you heavily invest into levels after promoting that 3 star to elite. But generally a 3 star will have roughly similar stats to a 5 star once promoted to elite. But ultimately, in the end game, they just get stat increases, whereas the skills and talents of 5 and 6 stars will usually edge them out even if not elite 1. With that said, I still would avoid making an entire team of 5 or 6 stars, as you're likely to hit a wall around chapter 3 because of the slow pace of promoting those 5 and 6 stars to elite 1. At most, I would say a mix of 4 is okay, and the rest of the heroes should be 3 and 4 stars, just so you're not gated by needing tons of materials to promote your units. Around 4 seems reasonable. Then over time, you can add in more as you grind out the game. Because everyone's luck is going to vary, I'm not really going to mention 5 and 6 stars. Use what you got if you want, and most of the main ones people are getting are all great. Then next after those, you select 4 and 3 stars to fill in the rest. You could even go 4-4-4, 4, 5 and or 6 stars, 4 4 stars, and 4 3 to 1 stars. The advantage to this is most of the lower starred units cost less DP, deployment points, allowing you to summon them sooner, which will matter in some stages. So keep in mind the summoning cost of units as well. To shorten the video, I'm just going to have some slides covering the better 3 and 4 stars separated by class. If you're going to pick any units for the classes that I mentioned, then these will be the ones to use over others of the same rarity. Unless, waifu and stuff like that. Most of the 3 stars you should be able to get easily for free from story or through recruitment. But you can get some 4 stars for free, such as Shaw, which is a very good 4 star to have in stages where you can push units off cliffs or in holes and completely kill them in one shot. You can also get Courier from Credit Store, which then, when the day is reset, you might end up getting Gabrielle as well to be buyable from the Credit Store, which is a great 4 star healer. I will say, if you want a guard, Melantha is above all the rest when it comes to damage and sustain. High base attack, high health, she outclasses all but a few 5 and 6 stars. So, if you want a single enemy dead, he's great to plop down and murder them. Anyone remember the 5 star that we got for free named Savage? Well, Melantha's better than her, so definitely use Melantha if you can. The robot healer you get for free, Lancette, while not actually amazing, she does cost like nothing to summon and doesn't take up a summoning slot, so not bad to serve as a second healer for your rangers and such if you know the enemy can target her. Although, she caps out at level 30, so beyond a certain point, it'll be hard putting her in teams without getting one shot, unless you can deter range units from attacking her. But yeah, these are the heroes that you should probably use, and hopefully you have a better understanding at what's needed to do well in this game. Eventually, once you mass hoard materials and start promoting your 5 and 6 stars, they'll really start outshining 3 and 4 stars just due to the higher stat potential, but also through gaining more powerful skills and traits. But you have to pay the cost, so only enhance units that you plan to use for a long while. Focusing on just the core 12 will ensure your progress isn't halted too much by money or lack of materials, although you'll eventually start needing more and more. But that's the guide. Hopefully you liked it. Just something quick and easy to put out because I've been re-rolling for like 3 to 4 days to get 3 6 stars at the start, so I'm kind of behind everyone. But smash that like button, and maybe, just maybe, with enough likes, I'll be enticed to make a Giga Tips video like I did for E7 for Arknights. So infect that like button, comment down below what your favorite heroes are so far, your top 3 waifu or husbandos. Curious to see what everyone's taste is, and yeah, subscribe for more Arknights epicness.